What's good, everybody? Welcome to season 3 of Black Men Need Love 2, episode 3, Black Men versus Masculinity and Femininity. I probably pronounced that wrong, but y'all know what? We've been here for the last 2 seasons, so y'all will stick with it. I'm your boy, Dr. Cloud. If you don't know who I am, of course, read the bio on the website or go back to the beginning of the videos. If you've been with me this long, you should know who I am by now. So, this episode, we do have a guest speaker, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. So, I'm going to let him take it away.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kyaus Washington, he, him pronouns. I am a second-year MSW student at Howard University from Alexandria, Louisiana. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. As a fellow Bison, I got my master's from Howard years ago. About a good 5 years ago, so I think I'm seasoned now. So for this conversation, Kaius, we're pretty much talking about Black men and masculinity and femininity. And I'm glad that you talked about pronouns. And so I want to start there, and then we'll kind of just move around in the conversation. Why do you think that pronouns are important, especially for Black men? Or do you feel like that pronouns can sometimes be an issue for Black men?
So I'm going to just share my little spill on my pronouns because I'm really very gender fluid. But I choose to use he pronouns because it's like the easy thing to do. Like if I were to be more difficult, I guess, I'm just kidding. But if I were to like actually dig a little bit deeper into pronouns, I'd probably use he, they, or maybe they, them. Because like, honestly, I feel like gender is a social construct, typical social work jargon. But like one of my colleagues, Noah, he's in the program as well. He said in a presentation that he uses he, him pronouns because he's able to reach specific audiences of men who probably wouldn't hear him out if he had any pronouns different from that. So that was very interesting to hear. But yeah, I don't really know because I haven't been around a lot of Black men who have issues with pronouns, so I can't really speak towards that. But for the people who I do think of, like the people of an older generation or something, like, oh, they want to be called him, her, he, she, like all this stuff. Like I just removed myself from that because that's a toxic mindset. But yeah, I think pronouns in Black culture, like especially at Howard, they're more accepting of that, and it's providing people to be more creative and more fluid in their identity. I even saw a post this week. It was talking about, finding your Howard love story or whatever. And they're like, you better find that Howard degree, like, fuck all them bison and bisonettes and them non-binaries. And I was like, non-binaries? That is crazy. But no, pronouns to me, like they're very important for like addressing people and showing respect in that way. And I attended a seminar this past week that said you never ask people what their preferred pronouns are because it gives them a choice. But you ask them what are your affirmed pronouns because that gives them their sense of affirmation.
Interesting. So, and you said something very intriguing that I want to expand on. So, one, y'all can't find a Bison love story. I did not find mine. I may have slept my way through Howard, but I did not find my love story. So that's a different story for later. But no, so you said that your colleague said that it was easier for him to use he, him pronouns because it would be more acceptable, or him able to better connect with the Black man there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we talked, and then you talking about the bison, not bisonettes, but bisoneers as well. And so that kind of plays into the conversation that we're having today about the whole masculinity versus femininity thing as well, and that you said is more acceptable at Howard. And we know Howard is just this small area, right? It's just that one institution. But when we look at it at a global scale, or, on a broad perspective, and as social workers, we always got to look at it at a broader scale, right? What do you think, or do you believe that when we are kind of doing that it can cause issues with the masculinity and femininity debate? Because if we are saying that, oh, I'm using he, him just because it's easier, are we then not diminishing who we are as men who may identify as otherwise?
Well, ask me a little bit more in depth.
So okay. So say for instance that you said that you're gender fluid, right?
Yeah,
So you're using he him to just make it easier. But is that
sure.
not what would that not cause, and not for you in general, but what, somebody who may be in your same situation, would that not cause identity crisis or have them kind of questioning their masculinity versus femininity because they're using he him to just make it more acceptable for the environment that they're in versus just saying, hey, these are my affirmed pronouns. He, them, she, her, or whatever they may be. So it's kind of like, you're putting yourself back, kind of condensing yourself to make other people more acceptable, accept who you are in their perspective.
Sure. And I think I got what you're asking. So, like, I understand that my pronouns, like, are just fluid. Like, I answer to sis, like, call me sis, but like, what's up? Like, that doesn't bother me at all. But the reason that I just choose to go by he, him is because, yeah, it's out of ease. Like, I'm more masculine presenting, but like, and this is especially, it shows up in like my fashion, because like I can put on like a suit one day, but the next day I'm out crop top booty shorts. Like, it doesn't matter to me, but I still go by he and pronouns, just because like the larger society, like from my experiences being from the South, they don't really gravitate with the whole affirmed pronouns movement. Um, they're like, God made you a boy, so you are just he, him, or
Hmm.
things like that. Um, but yeah, for me, it's not that I'm doing it just out of like ease or security for the most part, because like I'm very secure in who I am, but I just choose to have that presentation because that would make it more easy for the general population, to where I feel like I wouldn't have to correct anybody for calling me he, him pronouns if I go by they, them. Um, I know that's not the story for everybody. Like, I have non-binary friends who, constantly get misgendered, and like they could be male and they get misgendered, and like that's frustrating for them. Personally, I don't have that understanding because I don't identify fully with they them pronouns. Like, if you call me they or them, like that's fine, but like that's not my affirmed pronouns. But like honestly, I just take any pronouns in general, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense, and I like that you're saying that because I was watching College Hill Celebrity Edition one day, and Big Frida. I don't know if Big Frida identifies as non-binary or what Big Frida pronouns are. But I remember Slim Thug asked Big Frida, "What am I supposed to call you?" Big Frida said, "I'm your brother. I'm your brother. I'm your sister." And it's an interesting concept because I was like, huh? And but the way Big Frida kind of explained it as well, it's like sometimes I'm the bros, and sometimes I'm the sister, or, sometimes I'm mama, sometimes I'm daddy. It doesn't really make me less of who I am, But for most people, I'm just a Brewster, so I'm your Brewster. And I think for this conversation, it's kind of dope, that we're talking about the pronouns and starting off with pronouns because it leads into this when we're talking about masculinity and femininity. Why do we believe that for Black men it's so hard to believe that you can coexist with both?
um, so this was like a process that I had to work through because I am both masculine and feminine in like the
Mm-hmm.
energy that I carry. Um, and it was like a process of me, loving myself and who I am. Growing up in the South and, saying, oh, you should be outside, like, fixing the car and cutting the grass and all this stuff, which like I did some of that, but like I was also in the kitchen, like I was cooking and I like to bake and I like to like clean up the house. Like that's the first thing. Like, why do niggas feel like they don't have to clean up behind themselves? But that's another topic. Um, but like I just naturally had the desire to do more feminine things even in my youth. And I would be questioned, like, why you want to be in the kitchen with your mom cooking Thanksgiving dinner? Like, why aren't you out here with your male cousins playing basketball, or whatever? Um, but I had to realize that you can be both and you have to be okay with that. I'm not really sure exactly how I came to that realization, to be honest with you. But I know that it was a journey that took at least I want to say maybe started like 2018, 2019, and I just fully got seeded into it back in 2022. So like it definitely is a process.
And I get what you're saying, because I myself had to go through the whole journey too. I've always been a very masculine person, but then as I got older, I started leaning into my emotions more. And as black men, emotions make us weak, make us feminine. But I started kind of had to like accept that my emotions make me human.
Hmm.
And I never knew I was a crier until I got older. Because now anything sad makes me cry easily, and I'm just like, yeah, this is new for me. Like I'm not used to crying or having tears. And you said something very interesting, and this is where I always tell people that this is where the confusion comes in, because who made the decision that a man choosing to bake, choosing to clean up, choosing to do household items was feminine? Because right?
Hmm.
And who made it that if a man mows the lawn, fixes the car, does house, does fix appliances around the house, that made him masculine, right? And
Hmm.
we start looking at these societal norms. But what we started to see, like you said, you're from the South, and you're from almost the deep South. So I know it's a little bit different sometimes because of the whole, not on the Bible Belt, but depending on how you were raised as well religiously. That those kind of things, people try to say, oh, this how things go, how things go. I love to bake. Baking is my self care, because there be sometimes where I want to hit somebody, and I be like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go bake a cake, because if I
Hmm.
bake, it's gonna keep me out of jail. That's how that it is my stress relief. Baking has kept me from plenty of crimes that I should have had years ago. So why do you think that society makes us attach certain things to certain attach masculine and femininity to certain things, and then make us choose between them?
I think for the context of America, I can't see it anywhere other than being through the lens of religion, because I did grow up religious. I grew up Christian and all this stuff in the Bible Belt in the Deep South, to where they preached a man should be the head of the household and nothing different. A woman should submit to their husband, and like just this domination complex or whatever that I never really succumbed to. Um, like, granted, never really been in a relationship until this year, but like even in that time of just being in the church, I was like, I don't like the way that sounds, because like, why does she? Why would she have to submit to me? Like, what? Why can't I submit to her? Like, what's the difference there? But the context of like religion and Christianity just in America has influenced so many things already. Like you see how it influences policy, like with Roe v. Wade and other things like that. So I think that's like the grounding piece of it. Like I can't really speak for other cultures right now, just because like I haven't really been anywhere else. But I know like in some African tribes they have, where men do some of the female things that we do in America, or the women do more masculine things in the area. In America. So I think it's mostly within the concept of like religion. That's just from my lens, though.
I'm gonna give you that, because I'm gonna raise you one. I would say I'm gonna raise you one.
Hmm.
So we're talking about masculine and femininity, and we've already kind of touched on some very serious things. So you said that a woman should not why should a woman have to submit to a man? And of course we talk about Christianity as well. So, and we talk, in other cultures that's pretty much just typical, right? Muslim culture, Islamic culture as well. So
Hmm.
why do you think, or what do you think, when it is the other way around, and a man has to submit to his woman? Do you think that it is masculine to him or feminine to him to do it?
Honestly, like I try to remove myself from the whole idea of masculine and feminine stuff, because like I just do what feels natural for me, and it
Mm.
doesn't have to be labeled within the binary. But I know if I were to be speaking from like a masculine, like 50 some year old from that generation, They're like, "Oh, you submitted to your wife. Oh, you a little bitch. She got you." Like that would be the conversation. And like you laugh because it's true.
It is. It is. That's why I'm laughing because it's true as hell. I can hear. I
Yeah,
hear my granddaddy in my head right now. Like, you little bitch, stand up.
yeah,
I can hear that.
yeah. Uh-huh. Um, but like that's just the culture there, and like I've been called like sissy or whatever, or bitch for doing whatever things, and like I just had to grow tough skin around that because I'm just doing what feels natural for me. And a lot of men, they wouldn't. It's a process to do, and like a lot of men haven't started that process, or they don't want to start that process.
Mm.
So I think, and that's even a question, like why don't they want to start that process? Why don't they want to be free in the sense of doing whatever feels natural for them? And that could possibly be just to who they're surrounded by. Like maybe their homeboys like super like alpha male, and like if it's anything different than that, like then you suspect. So
Okay. So he already know asked and answered one of my questions. So I only got to ask it. But no, I am going to spend on it because you're very right. So for so often, or for so many times, we often see that when black men get around their homeboys, dynamics change.
hmm
I never understood. Like, have you ever been around one of your homeboys before, and then he get around a different group of friends, and he's a completely different person? You
hmm
don't know, you trying to figure out who this white woman is from who from you be like, who this white woman from the nigga I just seen, and you trying to figure it out so badly because you like, who that woman, who that
hmm
man, I don't know that person. I know Tyrone. Who Ty? I don't know him.
hmm
And it's interesting to see those shifts, right? How some men, when they get around other groups of friends, or even when they get around their spouse or partners, there's a switch. There's this big switch, and you really are trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
hmm
What the hell just happened? And that's very important. So these, I'm gonna give you a list of phrases, and you just give me your opinion on them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. First phrase: man up.
Hate it because like what does that even mean?
Okay.
Can you hear
Repeat
me?
that. Yeah, I can hear you now. Repeat that last part.
Yeah, I was just saying like I don't
Mm.
to where I have nothing of positive regard to say about it.
Okay. All right. Ready for the next one?
Yeah,
Boys don't cry.
that's very harmful because boys they receive that and then you know life going through puberty and all this stuff and having all these you know changes and they feel like oh I can cry because I got to be tough. Yet then they get a little bit older, they get into a relationship, and then all this pent up, bottled up emotion ends up turning into abuse.
Mm.
So like that's why whenever I have kids, like if I have a boy, like it's okay to cry. Like I want you to cry. Come cry with me. Like I'm very emotional. And I've been emotional for some time, but like I had to do it in privacy. Because if I didn't do it in privacy, then that's whenever those comments would roll in. So I'll be in my room, like crying, get myself together, and then go back out about my day. But like now, like I'll be in public and I'll start crying if I feel like it. Like I don't care.
I, I'm not laughing at you. I'm thinking about the first time I actually really cried, and it was like one of them deep, wrenching cries. I think I was going through a breakup, and I
hmm
didn't know what to do because I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like I'm hurt, but I never. My mom was like, cry. I was like, do what? She like cry. I'm like, I ain't never did that before. I don't cry. And I had one of them deep wrenching cries, like one of them R&B music video sliding down the wall cries. That's
hmm
what I had. That was ugly. But it made me feel better afterward. But I don't need to ever repeat that type of cry. That was an ugly cry. I mean, snot, tears. I
hmm
was just like, this what they be feeling these music videos. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I haven't had nothing like that yet.
That was years ago. I think that was 5 years ago. right after that was long enough.
Mhm.
All right, next quote. Next, let's see what we got here. All right, you're the okay. You a man. You supposed to be the protector.
Okay, I I understand that from a biological standpoint of like, males are typically more have more strength to be protective or whatever. But I know some women who get down too. Like, so it goes both ways. And like for me, being that I am more fluid in my masculine feminine traits, like I could be in the booty shorts and the crop top, like I said before. And if somebody tries me or like somebody who I love, I'm just going into protective mode, and that's it. And like I'm gonna do what I need to do to protect my people. Um, but yeah, it's like why does one person have to be the designated protector? Like why can't it be both? Like why can't people show off their strengths and weaknesses within the context of a relationship if that is the context that you're looking at it in? Because like I said, like I am more, you know, I'm more open to like having somebody be protective over me. Because like yes, I protect people myself, but like if somebody who's more feminine showed out to be more protective for me, I'd be like, hey, I like that. I like that. Like, and it wouldn't be expected. And I think that's why I would be like more surprised by it,
It just
just
do something to
within the
your.
context of society.
It just do something to your spirit. You be like,
Yeah.
oh, this new.
Hmm. Oh,
Okay,
you really don't think about me? Okay.
okay. This new. I like this. Okay.
Hmm.
I just feel like if I got beat up by somebody in booty shorts and a crop top, I would just be like, you know what, you win. I'm okay. I think that's
Yeah, I mean, it's a power move. Like,
it's just like he really whooped my ass. He's
yeah, like I was really wild and like,
like I was really wild. I deserve that ass whooping. Like for
hmm.
me, I deserve that ass whooping. And I'm okay. I'm gonna take that for today. It's okay. All right, last one, and I want you to think about this one. As a man, you are supposed to be the more masculine one. Why are you showing feminine traits? And as a woman, that's not something that I want in my man.
Okay. Well, I would if a woman were to ask me that, or tell me that, I would ask, so what type of man are you actually looking for? Because if you want a man who shows like straight the masculine side of things by what society says, that's a man who's not emotionally available. That's a
Oh,
man who only does what he needs to do, like provide food and like um, he's not like even I was talking about stereotypically from the context of society, like being masculine whenever it comes to sex, like he just trying to get his nut off and leave. So like if that's the kind of type of relationship that you want, okay, cool. But for if you want somebody with like more feminine traits, like I know, like speaking again on the topic of sex, like aftercare is
mm-hmm.
something that people enjoy, um, and that would be more feminine if you think about it in the context of like how society would perceive that. Um, but yeah, I would just start by asking, like, really, what is it that you want in a man? Like, aside from the masculine and feminine, like, what traits, just in general, do you want in a man? And like, go from there. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, he needs super. Like, if you want an alpha male type dude, that's perfectly fine. But like, you're about to just dismiss somebody just because they want to cook for you. Like, that's how I'm interpreting the question. Let me know if there's like a different spin that you're trying to
Nope, nope,
go with.
nope. You going where I'm going. So I like
All right,
that.
bet.
So and I agree with you too. When we talk about the sex component of what masculine femininity, I want to know people like in the bedroom, very masculine. I might choke you out, but I want to cuddle afterward, and I might be all up on you, like lay on me, hold you in my arms, like where you going? Don't move. Let me go get something to eat. For a great job done. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's feminine. I think that's just about caring about a person. And I think we
Right.
often get that confused that men do have emotions too, and that sex is not supposed to be carnal. I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
have carnal sex, but you're not really getting no pleasure out of it. Versus when
Right.
you are actually having sex with some type of real emotion in it, and all roles are out of the thing about masculine and femininity, that you actually create something very euphoric. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you want to eat my ass, okay? I don't really think that that's I don't really think that's feminine in nature, right? Like when you're eating pussy, or
Mm-hmm.
you want to do that in the bedroom. I don't really think that it has attachment to male or female. It's just about whatever makes you feel good, right, or what feels right in the
Mm-hmm.
moment. And
And
go ahead.
oh, I have some words to that because you said eating ass and that triggered something for me. um, but like I started thinking about like the men who I see on Twitter who like go up in flames whenever somebody just asks the question, would you let your girl eat you out, like eat your ass or whatever, or like Peggy or something like that, and be like, hell no, that's gay. How's it gay between like a woman and a man? Like if you just don't like that, just say that. Like, but that's just where my mind went.
No, but that's very true. So, there's a young man from Black Ink Crew. I think that's his name.
Okay.
Farheem. I can't remember what it is, right? And he's the only fan star. Knew nothing about him until I got a Twitter. First of all, Twitter is a rabbit hole. I have mine for professional reasons, but of course, I have friends on there, and they use theirs for other reasons. So, he posted a video, and he had let his girl toss a salad, and he had let her peg him. And
Hmm.
right, and so the comments, and I was reading through some of the comments. I did not watch the video. I'm okay, y'all. And I was reading through the comments, and they were like, "Yo, that's emasculating. Why would you do something like that? Yada yada this." And his response was very unique. He said, "It's only like you said, it's only gay if a man was doing it." I said, "But what's happening between me and my girl? That's between two consenting adults. Is actually not emasculating. It's just two people who have agreed to have this type of unrestricted fun with each other. So it doesn't make me less
Hmm.
of a man because of what I do in my bedroom." Just like
Right.
Dwight Howard, and I'm sure you heard about Dwight Howard, the basketball player,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
how he was being sued by. First of all, I don't really watch the NBA, y'all. I'm more of a track and field guy, and Dwight Howard was being sued by a guy who said that he performed fellatio on him. But when he came to the guy's house, Dwight had another person come out. I guess I'm guessing I'm gonna say transgender, or maybe it's somebody who does drag. But it was a
Mm.
or man, he said a man in a wig. And but Dwight said, "Why does it matter where my wood go or what happens in my household? It don't concern you. It don't
Hmm.
concern you." And I'm giving these examples because one, they're realistic. They're both black men, and they're both experiences that will have you questioning the whole masculinity versus femininity debate as well, because it does go into, is this masculine? Is this feminine? Is this in between? And that does lead me to a very big question. So typically in the LGBTQ plus community, predominantly with gay or bisexual men, what we typically hear, or what is typically heard, and from my work working with those who are LGBTQ plus, is no fats, no films, and a whole bunch of other things. But we're going to talk about the no films part, which is nobody who's feminine. And so I met one of my friends who is gay said to me, he said, though gay men who see masculinity in other gay men is actually a feminine trait.
Wait, say that again.
Gay men who seek masculinity in other gay men is actually a feminine trait.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts about that?
Mm, from the surface level, it kind of makes sense. Um,
From the surface level, okay, we want to go. Okay, so this is start with the surface.
yeah. So like, it kind of makes sense from that level, but like at the end of the day, like how like I'm trying to conceptualize like somebody is looking, if somebody who's masculine is looking for somebody who's also masculine,
Mm-hmm.
like how is that? I don't know, because like to me it just like doesn't matter, because like whoever you like or whatever. Um, but like it makes sense on the surface level, because like yes, more feminine people would desire more masculine energy from others.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm stumped on that one. I really am.
So I'm gonna tell you how it was explained to me, right? So women are supposed to be the feminine, right? And so women always seek masculine men,
Yeah.
right? That whole masculine feminine energy. So when a masculine man is looking for somebody else who's
Hmm.
masculine and nobody who's femme, it's pretty much saying that, well, that's a feminine trait, because usually women are the ones who are seeking masculinity in their man. So you are exhibiting a feminine trait
Hmm.
then, because you're seeking a masculine male, right? I know it stumped me too, and
Okay.
I had to really think about that too. I was like, huh? Like, it stumped me. But it's important that we're having this conversation, that we're not looking at it from one spectrum, because masculine and femininity is such a broad topic. And so like for Native American culture, there are people who are considered two spirited. And two spirited is their version of living with a masculine and a feminine spirit, right? So,
Hmm.
or for those who may be considered trans as well, may be considered two spirited as well, because they have masculine and feminine energy, and it's a little bit
Hmm.
more accepting in Native American culture, because they have a term for it, than it
Hmm.
is in African American culture. And so
Hmm.
how do you think that this plays on the mental health of Black men when we're having this debate about what's masculine, what's feminine? You need to, when we're trying to present masculine or feminine to Black men, how do you think this kind of affects their mental health?
Negatively, because I'm a person who it has had an effect on the mental health with. Um, I was depressed in like 2018 whenever I started like this journey, because I felt like, okay, I want to show like off this feminine side. Well, I didn't label it like that, but I want to do these things, like baking more, or getting into more fashion or whatever. But I couldn't do that because I was still like heavily rooted in the church, and they had their whole, what a man should look like and all this stuff, to where I felt like I was living up to this unrealistic expectation for myself, which caused depression, because I was like, I'm not being authentic with myself. I'm not able to live in my truth. I am shielding myself from living in my truth. And that was very harmful for me. I can see that it has many negative implications for mental health if you're not to fully express yourself in the way, and you have to like code switch in different environments. If that makes sense.
Now that makes complete sense as well, because when I look
Mm.
back at, like the Renda Clark Cole said, when I look back over my life and I see, but no, because I also look at that too. Growing up, I was the book person, so I like to stay indoors. I like to read, everything like that. And I was always hit with, "Why don't you go outside and play? Why don't you go outside with the boys?" And it wasn't because it's just like I have no interest in it. I have no
Hmm.
interest. And I remember when I was a teenager, my mom and my grandmother forced me to play football, and I cried for a whole entire week. Like,
Hmm.
not boo-hoo, gut wrenching cry, but I remember I cried and I complained, because I'm like, why are y'all forcing me to play a sport? Like, I'm okay with staying in the house and not interacting with other people. I am completely okay with this. At least I'm not out in the streets doing what other people are doing.
Hmm.
And I'm in my grandma say it's gonna toughen you up. I don't think sports is the only way that will toughen me up, but sure, let's go for it. And I hated football,
Hmm.
and I played football for 4 years. For 4 years, I played it, and I hated it every time I had to play. But it was because my mother and my grandmother wanted me to play a sport. They wanted me to play a sport. They wanted me to be around other boys my age. They wanted me to be around, older Black men, to have that father figure. Even though my father was in and out. And to be
Hmm.
honest, what it really was doing was it was making me resent not only them, but making me resent, being around men in general. Because I'm like, I don't want to be around these Negroes. I don't. I did like this. I just want to chill. Like, I just want to do what I'm so used to. I'm a nerd. I love to read.
Hmm.
I love to write poetry. Like, I'm a nerd. I mean, I love to run. Like, cool, I can go running and I'll be happy. But you're forcing me to do something that I really don't want to do, and because you want to toughen me up. And it does, and it's starting to affect me because it started to make me resent being around people.
Hmm.
And so and that's why I had to say I agree with you, because when we're pushing, I think when we're pushing these narratives on black men, especially black boys, it does affect our mental health. It
Hmm.
does, and I struggle so badly with it, with trying to coexist with both sides of me, my masculine and my feminine side. I remember the first time I got a mani pedi with my mom, and I said, I don't think men do this. My mom was like, one thing a man should always do is should always have his nails and his feet done. She said that's nasty if he does. But I'm a teenager, and for me, I've never seen, when I go to the nail salon now and I go by myself and I'm in there with black women.
Hmm.
You should see the stares that I get. And it's so bad. And I didn't realize when I got older, I was going by myself. And one lady was like, "What you doing here?" I said, "I want to get a mani
Uh-oh.
pedi." She was like, "Oh, I don't think men do that." I was like, "Well, this man does." Like, I mean, I like to be clean cut, and these cuticles look bad. So my mama raised me better than this, but it did kind of make me feel a type of way, because it's like, dang, so I'm supposed to go around here looking unclean, unshaven, long nails, like,
Yeah, I'm
because
gonna be honest with you. Like, what you say? Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead. You said, are you gonna be honest with me?
Oh yeah, I was saying like, because I still get like some of those comments from like from people and stuff, but like it just automatically switches to where I have a reaction to it, and like I'm very like sassy and low key, high key petty. So like if somebody were to be like, "Oh, why are you wearing that? Like you supposed to be a man?" Like I'm just gonna make a comment about your wig, like because why are you in my business? Um, because like my thing is like you should. It takes very little strength, or it takes very little energy just to be quiet, just to
And,
mind your own business. Like if you want to talk about me to other people, cool. But if you come to me about it, you gonna hear about yourself too, because I don't operate where I bother nobody. Or anything. I want people to live in their truth, understand it. I ask questions, and I ask questions
ooh,
out of like affirmation about like what is your story like, you know why are you the way that you are, like, and that sounds like very I didn't mean to frame it that way, but like what makes you pick, like, why is this your personality, what made you get to this point, like what's your story. And I have the word Sonder tattooed on me, because Sonder's like the realization that every single random passerby has a life as vivid and complex as your own. That's the definition of it. And like that's just so, it's such a cool concept to me, where like I love hearing people's stories and like why, like how did they become who they are. um but to those comments and the people who say that, like for me, I realized I had to get into protection, and that protection was me being petty and clapping back. And like that's just what works for me. So like I walk around on the street, like wearing whatever. I get comments like, okay, period, whatever. And then there's some people who would stare, and I stare back, because like I look at what you got on, and like you can't even comment on me because um
I love people,
like
y'all.
that's just how I that's just how I cope with it.
and and I get it, and I love that we're that having you as a guest today, because these conversations are so important, and it's just a shame that as black men, as we are, as society continues to advance, that we're still dealing with this whole masculinity versus femininity debate.
Hmm.
And it's just very sad. Like, my supervisor the other day told me, and I don't know if it was a dig at his sexuality or a dig at him doing something that may be considered feminine. And he said to me, he said, you know, one of leadership commented on my nails, talking about, I seen your nails when we was on that call, and I told my husband, oh, I need to go get my nails done because his nails look better than mine. And as soon as we got off that call, I went to the nail salon and told them to fix me up. I said, Negro, what?
Wait, what did she
And
say?
she said, that his nail, that once he seen his nails, that they were better than his, and that
Mm-hmm.
after they got off that business call, that she told her husband, "I'm going to the nail salon and told and because his nails look better than mine."
Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask, and I told my supervisor, I said, "You a better person than me." Because as soon as he would have said it to me, the way we would have wrote that up, I promise you that email to HR would have been lovely.
Wait, how was that? How was that?
That's that's what we call in the workplace. What's what I'm looking for? It's a word for it, and I can't remember what it is now. But when somebody gives you a
Mhm.
backhanded compliment, that's
Oh,
what we
yeah, I
want to
feel like
call.
yeah, I didn't feel like that was backhanded though.
Yeah. So you may not, other people
Hmm.
might, and so that's the reason why
Right,
I was kind
right.
of like, don't know. I feel like that would have been a HR conversation for me because I
Mm,
wouldn't know how to have taken it, and I would need some clarification to make sure that we
yeah,
weren't being rude. But I'm saying
gotcha.
all that to say, and to my supervisor, thank you for your story. I'm saying all that to say is that so often as men, we keep having to, I guess, prove ourselves about masculinity in a sense. And
Hmm.
I've gotten to the point now where I no longer put my masculinity on display. Especially as I gotten older now, and people want you to walk in chest up, shoulders back, all broad and stuff, and they want you to have like this deep voice. I don't have a very deep voice. I tell you that all the time. I don't have a deep voice. My voice is nice enough for me. You can hear the man in my voice. Now, when I'm at a drive-through speaker, it sounds like a woman. And so people might say ma'am, and I just be looking like, yeah, okay. And I just go by because my voice might sound different to other people. But I'm very secure in my masculinity, so there's no reason for me to put my masculinity on display to prove it to anybody else. Because you're gonna make
Right.
you're either gonna have these preconceived notions about me, and then you're gonna get to know me and be like, oh, wait, no, I was wrong, and call it a day. A lot of people, when they meet us or when they meet black men, they already put us in categories. Oh, he's masculine, he's feminine. They don't even know nothing about us yet. All we did was walk up. We didn't even fully open
Hmm.
our mouth yet to speak, but as soon as we walk up, oh yeah, I could tell he masculine. Look how he walk. You ever heard the phrase "he walk like his big"? You ever heard that
Yeah.
phrase? Yes, he
Uh-huh.
walked like, oh, he walked like his big. And then the other one is, he walked like he got a little sugar in his tank, y'all. I don't know about that
Mm,
one. And sometimes it'd be completely backwards, and you be looking like,
hmm.
how we get here? How we get over here, y'all? I just walked up to you. I ain't even open my mouth to
Hmm.
speak or nothing, but you already have put me in category of feminine versus masculine just from walking. And
Hmm.
I laugh so often when I hear that. I think one day I was going to a meeting one day, and this lady stopped me. I was dressed up, suit on, looking nice, fresh haircut, nuggets in my ear. This lady talking about, oh, you. She said, baby. She said, tell your mama, thank you. I said, huh? She said, cause baby, you walk like it's big. I said, huh? She's like, you walk. It was an older lady too, like an older lady. Older black ladies don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
She said, baby, you walk like it's big. She said, go do whatever you're doing. She said, but I know it's good. I looked at that lady. I said, and I lied to the lady. I said, ma'am, I am a married man, and I feel offended. But I was just so uncomfortable in that moment.
Hmm.
I said, ain't this about some shit? And but I'm just like that lady just seen me walk, and I make it say, "Oh, I know he masculine. Just look at their walk." I've had people say, I seen you walk, and you got a little switch to you. Man, did you see me walk or did you see me run? Because if I was in a hurry, you probably see me turn the corner. There's a difference. And I can laugh about all of this now because it's important for us to have these conversations. So what can we do as a black man, two fellow black men? What can we do to disperse or to kind of negate, these type of biases around masculine and femininity moving forward? Because again, we are social workers, but we're black men first. and we are black men who operate in, in different arenas or different spectrums, whether it's non-binary, whether it's LGBTQ plus, whether it's heterosexual, whether it's pansexual, regardless. What can we do as a whole to make sure that when we're faced with these type of conversations or these type of environments where our masculinity and femininity is being challenged or on display, that it does not affect us in the long run or our mental health in the long run?
Um, I think we start by like, education.
Yeah.
Having these conversations of like, what does it mean to be masculine to you? Like what do you mean? Like I even ran a boys group last school year, and we had the conversation about like, what makes you a man? Like,
Mm.
and like they had people who identified different things. It's like, okay, that's important to you, but it's just like allowing people the space to process these things and to think about these things, because they don't really get a set time to really do that, unless in like a discrete or particular setting. So I think education is the first piece, but then actually having masculine figures, that they can like see what works differently dynamically. And I say masculine figures because that could be, trans men, that could be, non-binary people. It's not just, people who identify as man, but like you can learn from everything, and just providing the space for people to be fluid without the fear of criticism.
Okay. And so you said something, and I want to see what your answer is going to be. What makes you a man? Right. That what you said. So
Honestly, like,
yeah.
yeah, I, look, like I told you, I'm very fluid. Like, I don't, like, I just call myself a man just to be easy with it. But like, honestly, what makes me who I am is what
Mm.
makes me who I am. So like, I don't really have a full answer to that question. I know that I am a very emotional person. I know I care about people. I know that I like to cook. I know that I can do yard work. I have done woodwork before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like all these different attributes about myself makes me me. And it's outside of the context of, oh, I need to hit all these check boxes to be a man. I'm just showing up as myself authentically.
Come on, somebody, and that is a great answer, right? Because and the reason I wanted to challenge on that is because so often we always hear people say, "Oh, well, what makes you a man? What makes you think that you could provide for me and my family, right? What makes you think that you could be head of this household?" And it goes back to that question: what makes you a man? And
Mm-hmm.
one of my close friends, and his name is Johnny. He's an alpha, and love him to death. And he always be reciting "Test of a Man." It's an alpha poem, and
Mm-hmm.
I be want to tell him so badly. I'm a Kappa, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But I do like that y'all have that type of form in y'all fraternity, because it's kind of something that kind of has to instill some values in y'all that y'all kind of put into your regular day life. And I like
Mm-hmm.
that your answer is so very inclusive of you. Is what makes you you. It doesn't make you anybody else but yourself. Um. So last question. We're almost at the end of our wonderful podcast, y'all. So when we're talking about masculine and femininity, and we're looking to the future. One of my favorite phrases, or one a phrase I've been using for black men is aging with grace, right? So how can we as black men age with grace or give ourselves grace as we get older? And I want you to put it into the realm or to the context of dealing with our masculinity and our femininity as we age.
I think that's going back to my answer of what it take. Like, how do I see myself as a man? It's
Mm-hmm.
just like being authentic with yourself through the lifespan, and like understanding who you are and being able to check in with yourself and do things that just feel natural to you without, worrying about, how am I being presented to other people. Like, if you got your family situated or not, like just do what feels natural, and everything else will come. And there will be like a lot of room for you to develop into who you are across the lifespan. Like with, how we learn the stages of development and stuff. Like with each stage, there's room for improvement, even in the topic of masculinity and femininity. Um, so I think by just being present and open and accepting of whatever it is that feels natural to you and living in that truth.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. So, y'all, we are at the end of our episode. I want to thank Kai. It's Kai's. Cause I
Yes,
really feel like
guys.
listen, y'all. I be butchering stuff in my head. So I want to thank Kai's for joining us today and for being a guest speaker because this conversation was very important. This conversation has been in the work. So I want Kai's to leave us with one piece of advice for a black man. It can be any type of advice. It doesn't have to just be around this topic, but just a piece of advice for our black male audiences, or for those who love black men.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm going back to authenticity because that's how I guide my practice and social work to begin with. Is like just be authentic with yourself, because if you're trying to live up to somebody who you're not, there's a lot of room for error. So as long as you're able to show up for yourself and just be very authentic and know who you are, or figure out who you are, through that authentic process, accepting you and your flaws, working on yourself, that's all that we can ask for. And that's you doing your best.
Come on, somebody. Listen, y'all. He right. That's all you can do is do your best. I don't got no advice for y'all because I give y'all advice all the time. So this episode, I don't got no advice. All thing I'm gonna tell y'all is to love a black man, protect a black man, hug a black man, and just always make sure that okay in your circle. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your race is, nationality, whatever. As long as there's a black man in your life, make sure that he always feels loved and protected. That's not me giving y'all advice. That's not me giving you a suggestion. That's me telling y'all what to do. Because I'm gonna tell y'all what to do. There's a difference. So we will see y'all in episode 4 in the next 2 weeks, of course. Episode 4 focuses on black men and abuse. We will have another guest speaker. Episode 3, again, with Mr. Kyaus, has been phenomenal. Of course, leave us feedback. I will also have his information as well. Oh, how can they find you? I forgot. If they want to
Oh,
reach out.
you can find me on Instagram at KWASHIE13. And I think my Twitter is K_WASHIE. Or X, excuse me.